everyone, it's Jenny at JC Cards, and I'm joining you today with a fun background technique using Nuvo Embellishment Mousse. I'm going to be using it with one of the Nuvo brushes to create this faux brushed metal background look, and it's going to be paired with some dry embossing and Copic Coloring. This is the brush I'm talking about. It's very stiff bristled, and I'm going to be using it with these mousses. So this is the Burnished Bronze. It's a embellishment mousse from Nuvo, and it comes in a pot like this. This one I've already opened previously, and occasionally if you don't tighten the lid, it does have a tendency to dry out slightly, but it's okay. It still works perfectly for this technique. I found this brush is really the best thing to use. What you need is something that's got really stiff bristles, and you're going to dip it into the mousse and brush it backwards and forwards several times until you get the thickness and the desired consistency you like. These mousses are transparent until you add a few layers on top, so that's why I'm going back and forth as you see here. Be careful to make sure that you go back and forth in the same direction. We're going for a brushed metal look here, and I found that the best way to do this is to go left to right, left to right. You will see later on I move the brush in a slightly different direction, and because of the stiff bristles, it really picks it up. So just be careful to make sure that you do it left to right motion and you get the look here. So the first colour was Burnished Bronze. I'm then using the other end of the brush with French Rose. And this one I hadn't actually opened previously, and it's slightly juicier, but it really doesn't matter, as I said. And I'm going back and forth from the other end using the other end of the brush. And then I'm going to overlap them slightly in the middle. And I really love this colour combination actually, where you overlap the French Rose with the Burnished Bronze. Is almost a purple colour that's created in the middle. It's really pretty. And this is the point where I was slightly off with my brushing. You can see there I just pointed to it. All you have to do if you do make any marks like that while it's still slightly wet is just go back over it again with your brush, and you can create that brushed metal look. I did try this technique with several different colour combinations, and they all blended really beautifully together. One tip, if you're finding that they're not blending as well as you'd like, is to go back in with the first colour and blend it back over the second. So you can just, if you're using one of these brushes, you can just flip it round. So you can see here, I'm not going to show you how I finished the blue and yellow, but I used a gold and a blue together and they still blended really well. So I'm using this Botanical 3D embossing folder from Holtz, and I'm going to run it through my die cutting machine. I'm actually using the Spellbinders machine with a 3D embossing plate, which is great for these. And look at the great look you get with these embossing folders. I just love them. I'm now going to go in with some platinum embossing mousse, and you can use a blending brush or your finger, as I'm doing it first here, just to very gently go over the raised image on the panel and add touches of the contrasting colour. So I'm using platinum here because it stands out against the background. I also have one of these blender brushes. This is a blusher brush that's much smaller, and I'm ever so gently touching the raised image. If you push down too hard, it will go onto the background panel, and what we're looking to do here is just highlight some of the raised images only, and it gives a little bit of a distressed look, which adds to the faux metal feel. Now you of course don't need to add this. It looks awesome without adding the extra highlights. You could also keep the panel flat. You don't need to do any dry embossing either. And it just looks really cool, this kind of brushed metal look, and in real life it's so shiny, it really picks up the light beautifully. So I'm using this Simon Says Stamp Love Always stamp set. This comes in the February 2019 card kit, and I'm stamping one of the main focal images in Ink on 3 waterproof hybrid ink because I'm going to be doing some Copic Coloring, and I'm stamping it down on Express It cardstock, which is specifically made for Copic Coloring. I did cut slightly here because I accidentally shifted my image when I stamped it the first time, So I'm just stamping it down, and then I'm going to be doing some really basic, simple Copic colouring. So I'm starting off going from light to dark and then blending back out again with my light. I'm using R35, R29, and I think it's R69, which is the darkest. And I'm adding the darkest in the shadow areas, which on these images are really easy to see. It's basically where all the darker black lines are. And I use the same colours for all of my roses. I'm then colouring in the leaves in warm greys. So I'm starting with dark and then moving out to light, because these are very small images. So I'm going from W7 to W5 to W3. I then fussy cut it out, and I'm going around it with a Memento dual brush marker in black, tuxedo black, just to make it look a little bit neater where I may have messed up some of the fussy cutting. And as a final touch, I'm using a Nuvo glitter marker in Strawberry Bonbon and just adding some sparkle to the centre of the roses, just adding a few dots here and there. What I'm then going to do is add foam tape to the back of my image and pop it up about a third of the way up from the bottom of the panel. I'm then going to heat emboss my sentiment in Wow Silver Metallic Embossing Powder. The sentiment is also from the same stamp set. I think it's a really good stamp set, actually, some of the sentiments in here, and this one was a particular favourite of mine. It's definitely the one I'm going to be giving to my husband for Valentine's Day in a week or so. And I've treated the black cardstock, this is Midnight cardstock from Catherine Pooler, with my powder tool. That just prevents any embossing powder sticking where I don't want it to. And then I'm heating it up with my Wow Dual Heat gun. I'm using setting 2. And then I just trimmed it out and I'm popping it up on foam tape. For some extra sparkle, I'm using Honeybee Stamps Sequins. This is the Plum Crazy set, which I thought the colours, the kind of wine and plums, went really well with this background and the colours of the roses. So I've just added some art glitter glue dots over the panel, and then I'm popping the sequins on. And then I adhered it to a £110 Nina Solar White card base with some craft foam for dimension, and that finishes the card. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel, press the bell to be reminded when I have a new video, and if you enjoyed this one, here's a couple of other videos you may also like. Have an awesome day. Bye!